He's mouthy as all get out, but he mouths everything, so I don't think that's anything related to me, necessarily. I think that's just who he is as a horse right now.
General tension, growing pains, teeth changing, all that stuff, yep.
So, whatever. That's no big.
Now you didn't zoom your camera to the first beacon.
No. But I know that it was pointed at the first beacon.
One was in Belgium, and she believed in everything I did, and trusted everything I did. And her husband.
I am so meticulous when I set that thing up. Like, it's a 10-minute operation. It just hit me. Wow, she did that really fast.
I did trot between beacons.
There.
Oh, impatient.
So a halt and rein back right there.
This is a good test of my retention, isn't it? That's not it.
Her husband is a business, and it's just his business that they don't work and they're gone.
He says, well, what is it then?
And I was just devastated. I love that horse. I took many pictures of him and me together to demonstrate what I do.
Good. Oh. Should I have let that be a bigger release when he at least rocked back a little bit?
No, I don't think so.
It's rainback day.
It is rainback day. It's a theme.
I know. Thank you for trying. Let me pick this up on your face a little bit. No, it's not off. It's going to be taken. Thank you. Oh. Let him circle around me or stay ahead of him?
Yeah, if you can.
Thank you.
There. Take that and let that be a spot. Now you'll take him for a little walk.
Oh, he says this is so frustrating. This isn't what we do.
When he comes through a big spot like that, that's when you'll take him for the walk. Kind of hit the reset button.
Oh, good boy.
This be okay in the horse?
Try again.
I mean, it doesn't, some.
The blow up get handled okay?
Yep. You did exactly what I would have had to do. Except for the poking him in the eye part. So you had to do that.
Really? That's my favorite part.
Yeah, here's as much as you need.
Cool. I know. Life is hard.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
What time you want to head out?
Whatever time you want.
And you can start bridging that with more space.
Okay.
He kind of needs more space. He's got that little bit of busy mind and he's like, yeah, kind of thinking. So each step gets its own micro release.
Okay. We're not just facing backwards. That's just back.
Yep.
That's just back.
smoothness and the diagonalization. The reaching through the top line. There. Now we're getting into almost a true rain back. So ask for just a little more energy from your core, not from your hand. There. Feel the difference right there? That's a good spot to reward right there. He gets 6 weeks off for that.
He's like, how about a minute to play in the dirt?
And so that rain back, just to give you an idea, that's half of what you're going to get as far as energy-wise goes. What your aim is. That's about half of what your aim is energy-wise. And you want to be able to do that, I would say, but when am I going to see you next?
I don't know, in fall, hopefully.
Okay. I would want to see you be able to do that about a full lap around this arena, smooth, by then.
Okay. More. Something else.
Let's go back to that position 1. And when I say a full lap around here, it's not because you'd have to, but I'd want you to feel like it was that smooth and that well understood that you could without any issue. And some days you do 3 times that. Little contact on the nose to slow the shoulders down. There. And you feel how that lines the haunches up. Slow the shoulders. There he comes. Right there. Feel the shift? That's position 1. Slow again the shoulders. Yes. That's a body, well it was, a body that you could take into position 2. There, now turn here and look at me. Okay, that's okay. Back to position 1. And so what you want to do is immediately when you feel the hesitation, position 1. Let that be your default. Good. And turn to position 2. Good. And back to position 1. It's 1 step and it was good. Slower the shoulders. There. And position 2. Yes, back to position 1. Good. You almost want to, for now, flirt with position 2.
Okay.
But not quite commit to it. And position 2. Just kidding, position 1. Feel him get prepared right there. And then position 2. And back to 1.
That wasn't even a...
And then 2. And back to 1. And then 2. Ah, yeah, good call. And then 2. There you have it. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
And so that's where, and it's so hard, I think, for me to teach that in like a video. But you want to get the thought and then abandon it. And then get the thought and then abandon it. Because if you think about it, it's a confidence thing. He's got to be able to rock more weight to the haunches, and that's where we see the rib cage changing so much. He's got to be able to rock the weight to the haunches and open the shoulders more, okay, as he goes into position 2. Otherwise, he gets stuck. So you'll notice when they get stuck, they jam into the outside shoulder almost every time because they're not rocked back enough to open that pectoral muscle, to open that scapula out there.
Sorry.
It's okay, he needs it.
Oh, I got a green thumb. Turn my brown thumb green.
There you go. Time to plant a garden. Good. And let's increase the energy in your core just a little bit right there. Tell him, look, son, you've got this part figured out. You need to carry this back. More energy. Yes. He sure does. And more, because he's not quite consistent. A little more energy.
Okay that he's going in circles
Oh,
at the
yeah.
moment?
He'll straighten out when he gets diagonalized and energized.
Like that. That's the opposite of what we were looking for.
Right, exactly.
Oh, you stepped on yourself.
There. 1.
Oh, sorry.
Little bit of vibration on the nose band there. He says, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. I've got these feet. They do the things, but then they quit. And again.
I feel like we're getting dopier instead of sharper.
Yes, and that'll happen for a while. Got it. Just hang. I love these moments.
Do you?
I do, because I'm not the one being pushed on. There, release that for a moment. The reason I love those moments is that he's hunting for different answers.
Yeah.
Right? He
He's
says,
good about
clearly
that.
there's an answer, but what I've done so far hasn't been it. And they'll try a couple things, and then they'll say, well, how about this better rain back?
Yeah, he's good about that. He's good about trying
Yeah.
and being in my space.
Yeah, poke him in the eye.
And I have a serious answer for that.
How do you know that wasn't my serious answer?
I'm presuming that wasn't your serious answer.
I would just, for now, every time, take a hold of the nose band and say, hey, let's bring back.
Okay.
That'd be where I would go with that. Because part of the coming in on top of you in this moment is that tension in the jaw that he wants help working out. And we can help him working out, but he doesn't have to be rude with it. And the rest of it, like whenever you were trotting, that sort of thing, I'd work on getting him to work off of you on a longer line, maybe with the dressage whip, that sort of thing, and just say, hey, there's this distance here that when we go forward, you have to stay at this distance. Otherwise, I'll poke you in the eye. Yep, and then we bring back. Good. Energize your core a little more. Little wiggle on the nose band. Yeah, you feel the difference at that step. And then it turned to crap. But that's normal. That's the way it's going to go for a little while. Little wiggle on the nose band. Yeah. Big wiggle there. Try to plant your feet. Yeah. Telling them, look, this is a fence post. You can't go through the fence post.
He's like, what do you want? I know. Oh, I know.
And this is something you want to incorporate into everyday work.
I have never done this before, so. That's the right idea.
And I would get creative with it.
What does that mean?
Maybe you, sessions that you come in here and work with him, maybe you rein back from your paddock in through the gate, to the arena. And when you're done, you rein back out of the gate into the paddock. Little things like that. You take them for a little adventure and you do some rein back as you go.
Yeah, we do a fair bit of hiking, so that's.
Perfect. Perfect. And so you get to where you're incorporating this even rein back up a hill. That's going to develop his haunches and his back really well, or his abs and his haunches really well. That's fine.
Life is hard. Life is hard.
It's even harder when you're yellow.
I'm hardly even yellow right now.
Could be worse. He could be gray. There. 3, 4. Crap. Good. Hang in there. He'll come through. Hang The thing is, he's leaning on you. You know, you just set your hand, he leans on you. So the pressure is up to him. We always want them thinking they control the pressure, but we control the parameter. So if he leans against the wall, he's leaning against the wall. If he steps back against the wall, he steps back. There's no more pressure.
It's like I can push this wall heavier than this wall.
Absolutely. Try to keep your hands set in a position. Yeah, there. So he might bump into it if he goes down, or if he goes left, or if he goes right. Some of that's just him being a little juvenile, a little bit of a little dorky.
So if the halter goes askew like this, it's okay, just let it go.
Yep, that's all on him.
That's better. Step back. Oh, yeah.
There, release
Yeah.
that.
Somebody else's poop is in your arena.
Thank goodness there's something else to focus on. We'd hate to be in class for too long.
Since I'm only 4. That's 4 weeks, you know.
It's 4 weeks, yeah, exactly.
Next time you come, it'll be 4 days.
Benjamin Button.
He thought he was older than us. And I didn't know until the first time Patrick met him. I was like, oh, he's this old. And then the next time I found him, I was like, no, he's not. He's aging backwards. Aging backwards.
Pretty sure one of these times I'm going to come out here and he's going to be inside a mare. He's going to be unborn.
I think we're going the right direction. No.
There. 3, 4, 5, 6. Release. Good. That was much, much better. I would take him for a little walk.
Yeah, we might work on something else. With stuff like that, like he usually does best if I can get something like that and then leave it for the rest of the day. And when I come back the next day,
Yep,
it's shocking. It's like,
Absolutely.
he's like, oh, this is what you wanted? Sure, no problem.
Yep, absolutely.
What?
And that's why I would make sure that every session, every time I touched him, honestly, would be my thought. Every time I would touch this horse, I'd want to make sure that we got 6 to 8 steps rein back.
Okay.
You know, just like that. And so it might take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. But like you said, it's going to get better every time. And then that's when we start getting creative with it and seeing how many ways we can use it. You might get into where he's reining back into the barn. He might be reining back through the gates, might be reining back up through the paddock, you know, a ways or something like that. But the smoothness and the integrity of the steps, that's the most important part.
Okay.
So if we start getting creative with it and we find then that the rein back is starting to lose quality, then we got to fix the quality a little bit before we go getting too creative.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, so that's
So now let's play with position 1 from the right side.
yeah.
And right there, just think rein back, half haul. We didn't wait for you there.
Yeah, I realize in talking with you that I've been a little bit sloppy about it. So now they just go, you know.
Which is normal though too. Whenever we start getting focused like this, they pick up pretty quick what we're going to ask, and so then they'll start. But the thing is, we've got to make sure that they stay patient and wait. And slow those shoulders down. Slow those shoulders down. Slower shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. And now he's on the border. The shoulder's going to creep out there, and he's going to overbend. Slow and stop your feet. Yep, and then rein back from there, a step or 2, or 20. If that's the response we get.
Right.
Yeah, there. And now back into position 1. Slow. Yeah, good. See how much more effective that is to slow the shoulder once we've got that better rein back.
He says, Mom, you changed the rules.
That's it. But it's okay because it's only for the rest of his life. There. And then we get a little quick again. And again, that's so totally normal, especially as we've changed the rules, and especially as, you know, his rein back the way that it is, and his body the way that it is. He's not, he's developing, he's getting better, but he's going to lose balance. Okay, that's just part of the process. There. Good. Now I'm going to swing up on him, and you can take him for a pony ride. I'm sure he would. He would love it. Be something extra to do.
Like, I don't know what any of these cues mean anymore.
I'm questioning my life now. Nothing means what I thought it did. Nothing tastes the same. The whole world has changed. Rein back. Rein back.
I don't make a good post.
I'm making it right. And I think this is why so many riders skip the rein back. Because it's challenging to get it right.
The waiting is the hardest part.
Yeah, the waiting is the hardest part, the organization is the hardest part, the patience. Because the thing is, he's just getting overbent when he loses his balance, right? Well, you can't rush into balance. We have to slow down into balance.
Good. Good.
Yes. There. And then position 1. Half halt. There. Draw through your core into position 1. Half halt. See if you can, when you're asking for position 1, set him up in such a way that that inside hind is the first foot to step. Does that make sense?
Oh, did I scare you?
There. That's okay. That's close enough. Good. And now position 2. There. And 1. Yeah, good. I was late on
Age
calling.
too late.
Yep, yep. Yes. Nice there. I like that shape in his body. And position 2. And 1. Yeah. And 2. And 1. And 2. And 1. Yeah. 2. Yeah, and 1. Close. And so that's a natural product of coming off the barrier of the fence. Close. There. There. And 2. Good call. And then 2 again. Yeah, good call. Yeah, nice. And then rest it. I would halt and follow through with a rein back. I'd be reining back so much with him. With all of them. All of them. Good, increase the energy. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Kerplunk. He's like a gazelle, I tell you. Too funny.
Gazelles also trip over their own feet, right?
Yeah, sure. I do it all the time. Okay, so position 1, position 2, rein back. What else was on your list? I know you wanted to play with the pee-off steps again.
Yeah. Do you want me to show you those?
Yes.
Position 1, position 2, stretching at gait, which we can deal with later. Yeah. Crowding. Cantering. Cantering we can also deal with later. The only reason that came up is from that.
Oh, yeah.
That's obstacle.
Well, let's play pee-off and see. Maybe we'll get to some canter as well. You want the long stick?
Long stick. When you showed it to me, you had it on the rail,
Yes.
and I didn't know, in the video that I have, you said, he's here so that you can see on the video, and then I didn't know if he needed to be on the rail, or if anyone was.
You want him on the rail? Yeah.
I'm gonna have this back. Thank you.
Yeah. You'll be on the rail with pee-off, and with him it's just an exercise to get him better balance. But like a couple years. Even once it's well developed, you'd stay on the rail for quite a while.
Why?
Barrier. Off of the rail, they'll deviate sideways.
So I might do it Patrick's here.
Good. Good. There you go. That's plenty.
So that's what we got.
Next step, the rein back. So you know you're working on that. We're going to walk him forward and ask for the lifting as he's walking.
Well, he's gonna step with that leg.
That's
Right.
okay. He can, or we can ask him to step backwards and then start again.
Oh, I know.
See what I reined into the back?
Okay, so now I'm gonna walk him.
So think tap to lift and then here. Just focus on the inside.
But keep him from moving fast forward.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a wall.
Oop.
So think about your timing. Okay.
Hang on, hang on, hang on.
Yeah, it'd be in the thrust phase. Let me help you once.
Thank you.
That would be the wall, and you will be the tower.
Okay. Wait, I'll see what I can do. So, before I actually start tapping, I'm going to tell you when I think I should tap.
Okay, perfect.
Okay? Now. Now.
Yes.
Now.
Late.
Late.
You gotta be there for the now. Late. Yeah. Yeah.
Early.
Now we bring it back.
He's like, what are you people doing?
Oh, that's rough. Come on. And so here's how your rein back needs to be. As far as the hand, you want to be able to be open. And have him traveling really smooth.
So is it better to start that constant and lighten, or what you're doing is starting with a little bit more force and then immediately lighten?
And that's only just to kind of fix the leaning on me part. And I'm kind of jumping it ahead so you can get a visual of it.
But for me, doing it, staying steady, and then gradually lightening.
Yes. You'll probably find that you get him to here in 3 sessions.
Really?
And then we'll start with the PI. As soon as he gets heavy in my hand, that's when I'm going to, there, I'm going to say no, the wall's closed, you have to step in. Good, and then we go again. And that's okay. That stuff is always okay. Proper pee off when you're finished. You won't be touching the lead rope. You'll just be sending him up into it. It's such a hard life being yellow.
It's funny that I'm like teaching him to do things that
Yeah, but you're doing a good job.
like, I don't really know what the is like. So what do you think about this as a wild idea?
Uh-oh.
It might be a terrible idea. I don't know. Teaching her the nervous system. This is what I do when I'm nervous. I'm thinking about if I had a kid who was truly a nervous. I would teach him a computer.
Okay.
So what you do instead of this thing, you're gonna have to do something just to say sit there and be quiet.
Yeah, right.
Ain't gonna work if you're too anxious for it. So I'm gonna teach you to do something else. Theoretically, that makes sense.
Yes.
Practically, I'm not sure that it would put the two things in your mind. Or head down.
I think pee off is going to be because I've seen that be the answer so many times, and then you don't get pee off, you actually get jig. Because the back has to be soft for pee off, and if she's nervous, the back's going to be tight. Yeah.
And she jigs fine already.
She jigs fine already. She jigs closer to pee off sometimes even. Yeah, I would think head down is okay. Head down is okay. Yeah,
It would be the same thing as pee off, right? It's like head down if you can get it.
exactly.
But at least I'm much less likely to get head down inappropriately than I am to get pee off that's actually jig. So,
Yes.
okay. What are you ready?
Let's go ahead and change sides.
Could very well be.
Good boy. Oh, good boy. Or actually back. Let's do nose back. I still don't get the underneath versus nose band.
Honestly, right there, the underneath just puts you a little bit closer to the hind leg, so it's easier to reach to ask for that.
His back end is
Oh, wait. Ooh, yeah, that's a fence.
Well, we got an equal sit on both sides right there. Yeah? Absolutely the right response. He gets heavy in the hand. We say, no, 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 son, we rein back. Rein back is the balancer. Good.
I feel like I'm making him lame.
Ah, you're making him think about his joints.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
taking these, like,
totally. Good. And then release him forward. Let him go for a little walk.
oh,
Good thing we weren't tied around his neck right then.
he's got the beating stick.
Show you where you're going to go next. So we go from the rein back and the leg lifting to the walking with the leg lifting. Then we want the neck to be fairly low. Some of the stretching.
So I had to get the whip and I had to get they also they're like, whoa, mom, I said, yeah.
So we need to get so it's the tickle. There. Bigger response. I know. So with the stick, he responded really well to it. With the tickle of the last here, yeah, good. The tickle of the last here, he's like, no, I don't respond to that. So you see how that starts to come together.
how do you practice as a human so that you get better with the lash? Because I think that would be my, the timing and the location.
We're still on the lower leg for it. And it's still
Don't lean back over my
no, I'm glad I saw that. That's the only time we're allowed to not commit to that rein back. So it's challenging as we're increasing the energy because now we're thinking, okay, but you also have to stay soft on the lead rope. That was much better. how that starts to come in. On slack of the rein. Now that's going to take you a couple sessions to get that. And there's going to be, when you get into that, there's going to be a little anxiety behind that. Because it takes a lot of power to do that. Right? I know. So let's come back over there and just rein back. Huh? And that's where the stick on for halt is really helpful, so that he doesn't get too anxious about it. And then the petting with the stick. If you want to think, direct contact, like your hand running down to pick up his leg, will fly when he switches that out in the field. That's what we really want to think of. Now you notice here how he's picking up his withers a little more? Just like when we're riding, we tap on top of the hip. Give a little more sit. Rein back. That lifting of the withers is going to help him so that he can get out of his own way and stop stepping on his. Let's see, we always follow it up. We say, look, you need to have power for this. Guess what? You still relax with the you still relax with the eight. Very good job. Yes, absolutely. But that'll be, of course, a little while before you feel confident enough to go up into that.
Yeah.
The idea is tickle,
Trained
and then
myself to know that when I'm hungry.
say, hey, if you respond when I do this, I won't have to.
So you get hungry, I'm like,
Well, it is.
And he gets him anxious, and then he says, oh, but I guess that's not that bad.
Yeah. The thing is that you can just
So often we have this idea for Piaf that we want it to be just slow and soft. Can't. Right? There's not enough power in that to create change in the body. Right? That's good.
That makes sense. I mean, they're heavy contracts, which has lift.
That's exactly it. It's basically Piaf is contained forward energy. Right? If you've got one doing this, there's no forward energy. Like, and you've got better than that already, right? But it's still not enough to get that snap upward. Right now we weren't working on that. And your next step is just that lifting as he's walking forward, but now you can think about incorporating that. A little more energy in the lifting while he's walking forward. And then we just start slowing our feet down. And you notice that even when we were getting closer to Piaf, we still traveled the whole length of the fence. You would be a year in development before you'd be in one place.
time it takes you.
Oh,
I mean, so if I were schooling him at that, we'd still be a year in development before we were in one place.
yeah. Well, and I'm just trying to get appropriate. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
totally.
get appropriate muscle mass. Exhibit.
Absolutely.
I know. I've spent a lot of time
It's gonna buy
with my other guys.
Yes.
And so I'm just
Yep.
giving them a lot.
Absolutely. And it'll help. And it is something I would school with City as well. You know, it's going to help her to come around in the back and reach the neck. Did you see how it's neck down? A lot of times they want to come head up. We're always thinking neck down. As they do. Because neck down, and City will show you this when you start schooling with that, neck down gives us access to the pelvis. As soon as the neck comes up, the back drops and the hips fall out. That's why an Arab runs around with their head up in the air like that. It's because their pelvis tends to be tilted slightly outward. The tension in their back is what lifts their tail and rotates the pelvis back more anyway.
nope, you're trying to keep me away.
And that's just a
I
natural
catch
part
him, I'll
of the
get rid of him. I said, you don't
uh,
catch him,
confirmation.
he's gonna go in the street. Oh, that's when you would have.
I couldn't have killed him, fucked him, and couldn't have fought. I mean, but I could have gotten
Yeah.
somebody else to
I
do
just
it.
smiled the whole moment. I
But
did it.
supposedly, I mean, once it gets past a year old,
This is know with work like that. I'm happy to stay here and not get up in your business.
Oh, he was.
You remember my blue van?
But you can see the difference in him
I had a blue van.
and like
And I got to
why
work. He would literally go and watch my hair.
Absolutely.
As soon as I stepped up
and
in
it has
my van.
it's weird it's interesting if you label it as anxiety because I think she's more anxious than he is, but they're just different kinds of
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's
I
funny
mean,
because he.
I would still think of it as anxiety. Maybe there's a better word for it than
well,
anxiety.
just different kinds of anxiety.
Chickens when they were around.
Well with
Well, that was funny.
we talk about internalizing and
Came over.
you have internalizing anxiety. And he's an externalizer.
So I don't use the little ones being scared.
He's a like chicken. Oh,
So the ducks and the chickens,
let me
right?
show you. Let me show you that I'm anxious. Let me do this. Let me show you that I'm anxious. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. And she's like, no. Let me shut down until I really can't cope with this anymore, and then I shall
explode.
explode.
Exactly.
Child and put a scratch on. How'd you get that? Oh, the roosters have me. Yeah, that'd be the end of a lot of things.
He says, not only am I yellow,
I think I'm point.
but I'm yellow and I'm starting to pee off.
How'd you get that?
It's a hard life. And most people would tell you that Forrest be young. Yet you look at his body and you say he needs to
Well,
develop
I
those
had other
muscles.
ones that were
You know, he can't properly carry a rider until he
are
develops those
very
muscles.
smart.
Yeah, and that's why we've been it's like I am the stretching back here. This
Color
goes
and when the sun hit
Oh, okay.
shine,
so
blah,
we
blah,
like
blah.
hike up and around and then down that and then back
Very
up and
first
back
one
up that
was
mountain
really
and then down.
Carried around, awesome chicken.
But it was it.
Right,
Just
right.
hiking,
No, we had chicken.
Okay.
Rooster
Yep.
along these
not
nights.
seeing the world.
Right, so you can hold down for sure.
Yeah, whatever.
If you would like to
Got another one, and that one was
what else for him do you think I should be doing?
I had her for 6 months.
I feel like until he's rideable, this is pretty good. Now you were saying that his canter on the line was challenging.
I did not hit him. I got after him.
Across the backyard, flying up and
He
jumping.
always carries his tail to one side.
I noticed that to the right.
He was a good guard dog. He never bothered us.
That's in the
But
field.
if somebody
It's
else
hiking,
crossed
it's
that
here.
yard that didn't belong there, he would chase
Okay.
them.
And I know that back in
Old Donald's farm.
that's not like that's a big deal because I don't
know on Sunday or not, but
expect him.
Right, right.
I
Okay.
don't do that much lunch work.
And that's probably a good idea. The lunge work isn't going to be bad for him to start doing to get balance and engagement on your circles, being really specific on the circles. You could overcook him with it. You know, so it's not a bad idea to do it in limited doses. It wouldn't be a bad idea to do it daily.
What's a limited dose? My view of a limited dose is probably less than tick, 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 tick.
10, 15 circles each way. 100 minutes.
Yeah, you know, and it seems
Twice.
like
Just enough for him to understand, really.
Okay, so I say kind of work out. So let's just do that one.
Okay.
have more
That's
than
fine.
that.
well, mine, thank God,
And
right now,
although I
they're
would
all
normally
going
along the line,
yeah, they're supposed to. They'll put themselves away at night. And I've got friends who I lost.
and this is what we get. So less weeks.
Okay, let me steal a
So,
from you.
we do that.
Let me give you some basic ideas to think about. And so this would be
They
after a few steps of your
They all
hand work. You're learning. What a good man. So I would start off with a bit of position 1 leg yield,
Okay.
putting him to the circle. I don't know how much of this we did in any capacity, so I'm just going to go like as if it's the beginning.
I appreciate that.
So to halt from the circle, I don't want him to turn in and look at me. Okay? Because he's already a little too heavy on the forehand anyway. If he turns to look at me, the hindquarters go away, the front end drops down to the ground, right? So I'm going to think that audible request for the haul, And then if we can picture the circle that he's walking around on, I'm going to meet him on the circle. I'm going to leave my post to meet him on the circle. At least on this circle, a quarter of the circle ahead. Okay, between half and a quarter of the circle ahead. So as he comes around, and I'll try to do this where the camera can see it pretty square on. As he comes around, here I'm going to come. Good man. And then we'll return to the circle. Now if we've got a longer lunge, the slack is in my whip hand. So that I can slide up. We'll get that figured out. So I'm coming in front to stop. Right? That's going to translate into your transition. So say I want trot. Thinking about that inside hind leg, climbing up with that. Our downward transition. And stepping out ahead of him. Okay? Like as if we were going to go to that meeting point. Lots of transitions. Now, we're not going to do it on this little line, but your aid for canter. I would have him in trot. You notice that I try to keep a feel on the rope. Okay. What I would do is when we're prepared for canter, I would actually give some slack in that and then aid with the whip. Okay. So it would be give, kiss, spank with the whip. And then retake that position. So it's as though start that with, I take a little more, like I'm drawing the nose in, then give. Okay? So it's as though I'm saying, think forward, here's a pocket. Right? Giving him something then to canter into. A couple sessions of that, you'll get that figured out. Oh no. I don't give the pocket for trot. I give the pocket for him.
Why?
Because the trot's a pretty even drive into the walk. The canter itself, we want him to be able to roll forward down into it. When we're riding, the aid is at the same moment. When they soften to the inside, that's when we aid, or when we request the canter. It's that softness into the pocket like that that's going to have, so like right here, that's when you see the neck starts to lower a little bit. That's when the outside lumbar spine is its softest. And that's when that canter transition is most apt to be able to happen. Because the change from trot to canter is just that outside hind leg. So we need that outside lumbar spine to be soft. Now we can also think about different troughs. Okay? His normal trough that he gives us, and then something bigger. And then, oh, I know. Oh, I added. So I try to be very specific. It's 1 cluck for trot, 2 clucks for bigger trot, and then cluck, or cluck to be slower trot. Good. Because he's going to learn that is downward transition, right? So I can follow it through with its downward transition to trot. There I say, hey, you missed my downward transition. Sorry, mister. Sorry, sir. I'll get it better. Easy enough?
Everything's easy enough when you do it.
There you go. Well, now you get the video for you. Yes.
It's like here. Now he comes in.
Poke him in the eye.
Uh-huh.
Or tap under his belly where your leg might sit and ask for leg yield.
My Oz not scriptures.
There you go. Touches it. Spanish walk is later. Don't start showing that.
Rose was doing it. Look at the Rose.
Now, once he's out there on that circle, try to commit yourself to a spot in the middle. If you
Otherwise, my circles go oblong.
being well, and otherwise your movement becomes desensitizing. So he won't notice as well when you're coming onto the circle, when you're coming to that meeting point for him, or when you're going to step ahead for your transitions. Good. Now stop your feet. Yeah, exactly. So we pivot to maintain a position. And if we need to move him, say from one track to the next, that's okay. But I want to get our circles really good before we do that. So you might be, once it's good, you might start this circle here and then you travel it down to A or over to C. You know what I mean? We can get it traveling. But he's got to be committed to keeping on a circle first. If we do that too soon, it's too easy for them to just get mixed up with that. Now you want to be ahead of him on the track. Yep, there. And you can
have better control of the lead.
Yes, that too. Yeah. And in those moments, and they'll come up, in those moments that you step out there to go to that meeting point, if he's anxious and kind of jogs off away from you or whatever, you just walk backwards on the circle, leading him to you on the circle and then stopping.
So don't chase him.
Yeah, don't chase him.
Maybe don't let him walk off while you have the whip in the low position.
Yeah, that'd be a good piece to think about too. Leg yield loop. So position 1.
How do I do that without getting in his?
You are in his space. And he's got to step sideways away onto the circle.
Okay.
Good. Now ask him to yield over. Tap. There. So I said, move.
Yeah.
Ain't got time for the jibber jabber.
Better?
Better. You still want to be farther ahead of him.
Okay.
Think about it as if he's walking on a clock. And I would say if he's at 6, you want to aim closer to 12.
Oh. Okay, so not a quarter, like almost.
Yeah,
a
I
half.
think I'm going to have you go for a half. Because your quarter actually becomes 5 minutes ahead. Good.
Good boy.
So right there, he's at 6, go to 12.
But still awe him back here.
Yes.
Ah. And have better control of the.
Yes.
Or you'll be at 90. All these numbers.
I need extra hands.
Well, a lot of this work will prove to us that we're 6 arms short of being an octopus.
I think though, like a reasonable lunge lead would also. I feel a little.
Well, hell, I could see you getting way more tangled up in a longer rope.
Maybe.
We might want to stick to this for about a couple years. Farther ahead. Get out there with him. Get out there with him. Get out there with him. Good, and lead him to you. Way better. Yes. Feel the difference right there? So once you ask for that halt, get out there to that meeting point.
Even though, okay, I'm slow, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I can cope with that.
Yeah. You were slow in that moment. In your other moments, I didn't feel like you were as slow. You were just more uncoordinated, and so you got tangled. That time you were coordinated and slow.
I gotta have a problem.
It's okay. I mean, what would I have to talk about if you did it perfectly? And now think about our transition to trot. Then we'll ask, pluck, and whip.
More whip.
Oh yes, because it's 1 pluck, not 27. Good. And then transition to walk.
Same deal.
Yep. Stepping out ahead of him. But don't let him leave the circle. There you go. And now walk, back at the walk, back at the walk. Go ahead. Bend him at the walk. You want to think on the downward transition, if you need to step out, it's to block him, and it can be a little abrupt.
Okay.
Because you're saying, dude, you missed my off. You missed my request.
I've not felt like this uncoordinated of a human being in some time.
I think I hear that every time I come out here.
You know,
I'm on
if
a
you
roll.
came out more often,
Right.
I would say, I hadn't felt this uncoordinated since last week when you came.
Right? Good. And see if we can bring him up into the trot again. Good. And then the walk. Yeah, good. And then let him go. Good.
Actually go.
Yeah. When we have to interrupt him for the transition, we don't go to the meeting point, but we let him think we might.
Okay.
Because we get out there to block that movement. Try that one more time. That was much better that time. And walk. Yeah. And then return. Exactly. Yep. Don't be afraid to be a little louder.
But
Georgia, I think she's got it.
I think she's got it. Now, big, loud.
Oh,
Good.
Good.
Yeah. Much better.
Mom means it now.
And then the meeting point to halt.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh, see?
Darn.
yeah. See
I had
that?
to say I got it, didn't
You
you?
called him a hoe and he wanted to leave. It's got to be, I mean, it doesn't have to be that, but, right, that quick, hope, that's too sharp. Right? It's too sharp. Got to be big exhale. It's as much to get you breathing as it is to get him feeling a downward transition. That was good, though. Good job.
I'm going to work on this with Lance the other day.
There you go. It's one of those things that doesn't get worked on enough. Doesn't get taught anymore. You know?
Leslie doesn't get that at all.
No, it doesn't get taught. And so what you see as lunging is just a mess.
They're running.
Around,
They're not
around, around.
They're it's
Looks
like
like
they're flying
this.
kite.
God.
It kind of looks like this. Yeah, no, not at all.
Work.
It's a runaway on a rope.
Right,
Is what
which-
it is
which
a lot
is
of
not-
the time.
That's interesting.
Or it's the opposite. You know, you see, like if you go to some of these Western displeasure shows, you see these horses that are just droned up, dolled up, lamed up, robotic, useless machines. Yeah, shuffling, doing nothing for hours.
They wouldn't know how to put their feet up.
That's it. So that's where we play with that idea here of, play with our gait transitions. Play with, the transitions within the gait, the transitions to different gaits, all that stuff. And frequently, because it's about getting their focus. It's not just putting them out there on circles to get them used up. It's about the focus and the consistency. Like, I love the circle that you've got him on. I love the circle that you've got tracked into the ground there, because it shows us that he's got a consistency in his body. And that's what it's about. And then eventually we set up cavalettis and small jumps and different obstacles. Eventually. Good job. That's way plenty for him today.
Oh, yeah. My bay horse, I'm trying to build top line, so I've just been walking him over ground poles.
Perfect.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, it's a great start. Yeah. And lots of this in hand work.
Yeah, he has not been. I think it's been years and maybe overtime.
Ah. Yep.
Hurt really.
Lots of play with the pole.
Okay.
Lots of loosening the oxygen, but you'll find that's going to be really stiff. As that unlocks, you're going to start to get more of this time. Emma decided it doesn't want to follow.
That's fine. It's possible that well, no, the base is on.
Gotta get
Oh, yep, that'd do it too. Fortunately.
It's in the right place.
Oh, I've got a dead watch.
Oh.
That's what I've got. I mean, fortunately, we've been working in that one little circle, right?
Right, exactly. So at least it landed on you in the right spot.
Still recording.